is Maria Semitaris. Today, my bro and I will present about the Russian financial crisis in 1998. So, what is actually happened in the financial crisis? It is because the Russian government depleted its ruble, default in government domestic debt, and also declared a moratorium payment to a foreign creditor. In order to know more about this, let's watch a video of the timeline. Timeline of Russian financial crisis 1998. In April 1996, Russian officials began negotiations to reschedule the payment of foreign debt inherited from the former Soviet Union. This was a major step towards restoring investor confidence. In November 1997, the ruble came under speculative attack. The Central Bank of Russia defended the currency, losing nearly $6 billion in foreign exchange rate. Then another blow was dealt to the Russian economy, which in December 1997, the prices of oil and non-ferrous metal began to drop. By late March, the political and economic situation became more dire, and on 23 March, President Yeltsin fired his entire government, including Prime Minister, which is Viktor. On April 1998, there is another speculative attack on the ruble. On 19 May 1998, Central Bank of Russia increased the lending rate to banks from 30% to 50%, and only in 2 days they used 1 billion of Russia's low reserve to defend the ruble. Next, in mid-May 1998, the oil prices had dropped to $11 per barrel, which less than half their level a year earlier. Oil and gas oligarchs were advocating a devaluation of the ruble, which will increase the ruble value of their exports. In light of this, on 27 May 1998, the CBR increased the lending rate again, this time to 150%. On 13 August 1998, the Russian stock, bond, and currency markets collapsed as a result of investor fears that the government will devalue the ruble and default on domestic debt. On 17 August 1998, the government floated the exchange rate, devalued the ruble, defaulted on its domestic debt, and declared a 90-day moratorium on payment by commercial banks to foreign investors. Last but not least, in 23 August 1998, Kiriyenko is fired, and in 2 September, the ruble is floated.
Thank you, Sister Yasmin. I am Nur Musfira, and I'll be explaining about the reasons of the crisis. The first one, for immediate cause, is overvalue ruble. As the ruble collapsed from about 6 Russian rubles for $1 to 20 to 25 rubles for each dollar, the aggregate capital of the banking system dropped very close to zero. The second one is excessive borrowings of the government. From 1985, the government had financed much of its budget deficit by borrowing in capital markets and issuing treasury bills. The third one is short-term debt. Most Russian domestic debt was short-term. That meant the debt had to be constantly rolled over, and about 1/3 of the debt is held by foreign investors. And the last one is the Asian financial crisis 1997. The government survived financially by accruing ever-growing debt. It managed to continue as long as investors were willing to renew short-term debt. But the Asian financial problems and other factors created uncertainty, bringing the crisis to an end. How Russia got to this point is explained by the fundamental problems. The first one is the inability of the Russian government to collect revenues adequate to match expenditures. The Russia's tax regime are inefficient, and it is a factor in the lack of sufficient tax revenues. Second one is the governments have granted tax exemptions to favored sectors and enterprises using the potential very big. And the third one is the virtual economy, which faster bills of exchange have largely replaced currency. Therefore, virtual economy makes tax collection difficult and leads to unrealistic government projections of revenue and expenditures. Thank you, and now I will pass to my friend Akila.
Thank you, Ms. Musfira, for the clear explanation. Hi, my name is Nur Akila and I will continue this video with the effects of crisis on Russia. This Russian financial crisis leaves several impacts towards Russian economy. Firstly, Russia faced a negative balance of trade. Russia's economy was heavily dependent on the export of raw materials such as oil, natural gas and metals that accounted for more than 80% of Russian exports. This was indicative of the vulnerability of the Russian economy to the swings in world prices. So, when Russia was hit by the crisis, the prices of Russian exports increased, and this led to a fall in demand for Russia's exports. And in June 1997, Russia was found at a critical point whereby the cost of imports was higher than the profits gained from exports, leaving the government with a negative balance of trade. Next effect would be fall in the stock market prices. In late 1997, Russian stock prices suffered a major blow and the prices started falling. It is important to highlight here that the Russian stock market fell by 75% during the previous year, and this was clear evidence of the worsening of the situation. The investors started questioning the situation of the Russian economy and doubting the profitability of their investment. So, many of them stopped investing in Russia as there was a significant proof of instability. Next, inability of the government to pay its debt. On August 17, 1998, the government of Russia announced a set of emergency measures in order to prevent a further escalation of the crisis, leaving a new exchange rate that was up to 9.5 American dollars per ruble. The devaluation of the ruble was unavoidable, and the inability of the government to pay its debt was a clear indication of its failure to face the situation. And now, let's see the effect of the crisis on other countries that will be presented by my roommate Anis. Thank you.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. I am Anis Sakina. I'm going to explain about the effects of Russian financial crisis on other countries. IMF has identified the new independent states, or known as post-Soviet states, as being badly affected. The effects can be categorized in terms of trade and currency effects and also social aspect. For the trade and currency effects, the crisis has reduced the growth opportunity for the NIS. This is because of the strong relationship between Russia and the countries, so the NIS exports to Russia and the countries has declined. For the inflation, the countries of NIS region have been affected by the ruble devaluation. Russian products become cheaper in these countries and replace the domestic suppliers, which lift the import levels and decrease the domestic production. Also, Russian financial crisis provoked a massive capital flight where money flowed rapidly out of the country. Hence, the central banks spent up to 50% reserve to maintain their respective currencies. For example, the foreign investors in Ukraine withdrawn and the national currencies has been de facto devalued. In result, foreign exchange reserve fell below 1 month of imports and the country's real GDP contracted, and also the annual inflation reached 40%. The second effect can be viewed in the form of social aspect. This is heavily felt as the private transfer and family support systems are under strong pressure and also result in a substantial increase in poverty all over the region. There were limited access to social care, for example, education and healthcare, employment losses, and also smaller remittance. These are some examples of impacts on social aspects. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Anis Sakina. My name is Firzana binti Ahmad Buhari. Now, I will continue with the solution for the crisis. The first solution is Russian government appeal to the international financial community for assistance. The International Monetary Fund (IMF) had announced that it would provide $22.6 billion on 30 July 1998. They transferred $4.8 billion as the first tranche from the package. The help of the IMF has solved the problem temporarily. Second solution is the Primakov government adopted an anti-crisis plan. The first plan is calling for subsidies on production of food, medicines, and other essential goods. Second, controlling the activities of the natural monopolies like electricity and trade. Third, negotiating with Russia's foreign creditors. Fourth, restructuring the banking sector and the tax system. Fifth, reducing the volume of wage and pension arrears. In conclusion, Russia bounced back from the August 1998 financial crash with surprising speed. Much of the reason for the recovery is that world oil prices increased rapidly in 1999 and Russia ran a large trade surplus. Another reason is that domestic industries had benefited from the devaluation, which caused a steep increase in the prices of imported goods. As enterprises were able to pay off debts in back wages and taxes, in turn, consumer demand for goods and services produced by Russian industry began to rise. So, that's all from us regarding Russian financial crisis in 1998. Thank you for watching.